It's my pleasure to introduce Liz Demi Green, class of 2010 Writers Fellow in Fiction.
Hello. Hey. Hi. Can you hear me? Okay, cool. All right. This is an excerpt from my young adult science fiction novel, The Ellaverse. In this scene towards the end of the novel, Ella confides in her girlfriend, Kane. We lay in bed, and she stroked my hair. It soothed me, so I began. It was his job to supervise our sleepover while my friend's parents were out of town. He was her older brother, 14. I was 11. I didn't want to do anything with him, but it was 7 minutes in heaven. I didn't have a choice. He was nice at first. I thought maybe we could just talk or kiss a little, but then he kept pulling things down. He kept telling me to be quiet. We were upstairs. My friends were in the basement, so no one heard me. I told him no. I said I didn't want it. He kept telling me I did. He kept going, and Kane held me as I cried. Shallow, silent sobs. No tears, more like gasps. Then my body relaxed as she held me tighter. Through the slats of the closet door, I could see into his room, his digital clock. It said 11:11. I remembered hearing once that you can make a wish at 11:11. I wished it was all a dream, that he would stop. I kept staring, kept wishing, and the clock finally turned. But he kept going. When he finished, he told me I couldn't tell, that he'd tell everyone I was a slut, and I wanted it. He told me, he convinced me that I wanted it. It was easier to believe him for a while. She kept a careful distance between us while I told her this story I had never told aloud before. Never made it a story, a beginning, a middle, an end. My gut loosened, she touched my face, my jaw clenched. There were no tears, but I was hot, and her cool hand soothed me. She curled herself closer to me, wrapped an arm around my waist, hugged me into her hips. "It's okay," she whispered. "You're okay now." I swallowed and nodded, closed my eyes. She kissed my mouth. I pulled my arms tighter into my body, my stomach constricted, my legs went numb. "Wake up," she whispered. "I'm awake," I said, eyes still closed. She ran her fingertips lightly down my arm. "No, you're not here." My feet got hot, then cold. I didn't respond. She got on top of me. "Ella." "What?" "You know I never hurt you, don't you?" I opened my eyes. "Of course." "You know I'm not like that boy." I sat up. Our faces were close now. "Of course." Her nipples rubbed against my breast through our t-shirts. I felt her warm breath on my lips. "I want you to feel good," she whispered, eyelids half closed. "You deserve to feel good." She stretched her neck around to my ear. She licked it up from the lobe to the top and back down. I felt every nerve in that ear jolt awake, every hair on my neck stand up. I moaned. She traced her hand down my back slowly, and my body rose in an arc as she touched, then she rubbed the bottom of my spine. The tension there uncoiled like a snake and wound down below my belt. I took a deep breath. "Good?" she asked. I nodded. The heat grew, and I started to tremble, so I took her hand away. She opened her mouth to speak, but I put my hand to her lips and got on top of her. I sat up, our hip bones stacked on top of each other. I pulled off her plain white tank top. She started to pull off my baggy black t-shirt, but I pushed her hand down and moved in to kiss her again. "You know, we've never actually," she said. I nodded. "Yes, I'm aware." I sat back up. "Not that it's a problem." I got off her and sat on the edge of the bed. "I hope it's not a problem. After everything I've just told you, I thought you'd understand." She sat up and grabbed my arm. I absolutely understand. Take all the time you need. I just thought maybe." Her grip loosened. I felt a surge of energy in my gut, like boiling water, like the steam was bubbling up into my chest. I pulled her hand off my arm and interwove my fingers with hers. I pushed her onto the bed. I rested my hips on top of hers again and began to grind. Our tongues danced and plunged into each other's mouths. We pulled and tugged at our breasts and twisted nipples. She pushed against me. She wanted to flip me over to twirl me to the bottom. We'd done this dance a lot, even a few years ago. This time I wouldn't let her. I held her down with my hands, my mouth, and she pushed back, and we ground deeper, pulled harder. Then she rubbed her hands along my thighs on my fleece pajama bottoms. She flirted with the waistband. I knew what she wanted. I wanted it too. "Can I?" she whispered. I nodded. She pulled off my pajamas. I pulled off hers. She had camo boxer briefs on. I had lame pink bikini cut panties. I blushed. My stomach turned and I fell to the side of her. "It's too soon. It's okay. We can stop. It's okay. I shouldn't have," she said. "No," I said to her shoulder. "It's just your underwear. They're so badass. And mine are stupid." She laughed. "Do you want to trade?" I sat up suddenly. "Seriously?" She bit her lip to keep from laughing again. "Yes, seriously." I turned away to hide my smile. "You're amazing," I said. "I know." "Well, come here then." She pulled the pink cloth down my legs and over my feet. She raised her hips in the air and I tugged the boxers away. But once they were both off, I didn't want either of them back on.